If you're thinking about buying waterfront property here in Branson, you're going to want to stick around for this next video. Hey, welcome back, you guys. I'm Jason with Greater Nixa Homes, and on this channel, we talk about all things real estate from Nixa down to Branson. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Okay, so probably in the last year, they've actually redone the shoreline management plan for Table Rock Lake, and I wanted to make a video to kind of go over some of the most important things that you're going to want to need to know if you're considering buying waterfront property here in Branson, specifically, on Table Rock Lake, which is one of my specialties. I've sold a lot of waterfront homes, water view homes, but if you've got a boat or if you're looking for a place with a slip, there's a lot of people that I get a lot of common questions that people ask me. So I wanted to answer a lot of these in this video today. So let's just jump right into the content. All right, so probably one of the first things that you should understand about Table Rock Lake, it is a flood control lake. It was designed and engineered by the Army Corps of Engineers back in like the 50s. People kind of get frustrated when they're coming from maybe some other lake areas in Missouri, specifically like Lake of the Ozarks, these places that are a little more built up and everybody's got a dock in their backyard, or even like my aunt has a lake house in Grand Lake and we love going down there, but it is super busy. Like there's boats everywhere, especially during like the major holidays. Table Rock Lake is not one of those lakes. It's certainly, we have a lot of people that can enjoy it, but it was not designed for that purpose. It is to help flood control for Arkansas and Missouri. And so the Army Corps of Engineers owns the shoreline, which is my next point here, is that when you're buying waterfront property here on Table Rock Lake, you don't actually own the waterfront. Your property never goes up to where the water touches, unless the water's up really high, which we could talk about in another video about the actual flooding of Table Rock Lake. The Army Corps of Engineers has what we call a take line, and it's not really a specific elevation point. It's really designed back many, many years ago. They decided to go through the entire shoreline and decide what is owned by the government from the water, where the water normally lies, like a normal lake level, up, they measure it through what we call meets and bounds, is kind of how they typically will do surveys. And when you go down to the waterfront, you'll see like a post usually at the property somewhere that designates exactly visually where you can see where that line starts. You cannot mow on the Army Corps of Engineers property. You cannot build any structures, any dwellings, any sheds of any kind. Anything that is on Army Corps of Engineers property is their property. You can get a permit, what we call a vegetation modification permit. You can apply for one. There's no guarantee that you will get one, but you can apply for one if you have property that is maybe semi-level, which would add significant value to your property if you do have a place that is actually level and you can walk down pretty easily to the water. You can mow and do underbrushing if you're granted that permit. Not to say that I have heard stories many times of people who buy waterfront lots and they want that water view because depending on the elevation of how their lot sits, they'll go down and they will magically have trees that disappear off of the Army Corps of Engineers property by some act of God. And it does happen. I'm just telling you that what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to go and get a vegetation modification permit and then only stick to those restrictions. All right, so let's talk about docks. Most of our shoreline has community docks. There is one dock master that has the permit, that carries the permit for the dock. They've recently redone the shoreline management plan back in last year, 2020. The Army Corps of Engineers had several surveys sent out. They got together with the Table Rock Lake Oversight Committee, and they tried to get some input from all of the lake owners, lakefront property owners, to kind of get their feedback on what they feel like needs to be added or taken away from the shoreline management plan. So a lot of this information that I'm giving you in this video is in this management plan. And you should definitely read through this thoroughly before you buy waterfront property, before you ever get out. If that's really your heart and soul is to buy waterfront property here, then you should really be familiar with all the rules and regulations. And I'm not going to be able to obviously go through everything on there, but I just want to try to go through some of the highlights. I'll leave a link down in the description of this video if you want to check out the shoreline management plan. But one of the key things that you need to know if you have a dock or want to build a dock is that you have to get a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers, and there's only certain places on the lake where you can actually build a dock. They actually just recently they've added a interactive map, which is super helpful for those who really want to look at a certain area that they've got a subdivision that they've got their eyes focused on, because having that what we call red line zoning will adds again significant value to the property if there is space in there. But also, thing you need to know is even if your property does have red line zoning, there are still restrictions on how far away you can build from another person's dock. So you want to read through that shoreline management plan and get to know it very well, and then call the Army Corps of Engineers if you have further questions, because you definitely want to know these things before you put an offer in on the property. But when you see something that has a zoning, that's significantly going to increase the value of the property. All right, so some of the key differences now in this new management plan are with electrical service to a dock. Some of the docks that are currently have been running for any number of years have had just normal electric service to the dock running from the land, right? Now they've said any new permits that go for any new docks, they will have to have solar or some other natural form of electric service to the dock. Your current dock is grandfathered in right now, but should you want to move that dock to another location, then you will have to switch it. You have to take off all the electric off of the old dock. And then once you move it to the new location, you'll have to set it up for probably solar energy there for any future use of that dock. Another key difference in this shoreline management plan is the number of slips that they will let you have on a community dock. So if you have a private dock, you can have 1 or 2 slips for a private dock. If you have a community dock, then it can go from 1 to 20. It used to be 12 to 20, and now you can actually have 1 to 20 slips on a community dock. All right. So those are some key changes that were made along with the electrical usage there. And then they've rezoned a lot of the area in the map. They've added that map for you to be able to go in. It used to be just like this old PDF map that you'd have to really zoom in, and it just wasn't very user friendly. They've actually added the areas where if you've got a community dock, you're going to have enough parking spaces, right? For all of the people that own a slip in that area. Oh, and also they've changed the size limit from 14 feet wide by 30 to 12 by 30. All right, so that's it. And now you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that you found this info helpful for you. If you would like some more tips on buying or selling, I've got a whole playlist of videos on buying real estate here in the Southwest Missouri area. I'll stick a link right up here in the corner. If you're thinking about selling your house, I've got a whole great list of videos for you as well. And I'll stick them right down here in the corner. Hit the subscribe button right over here. And that helps out the channel. I appreciate you guys. I'm Jason with Greater Nixa Homes, and I will see you in the next video.